Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel, I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today is our weekend gardening vlog, and I'm just going to be showing you some of the things that we have going on in the garden today and tomorrow. Right now, it is the last weekend of March. I want to say it's like the 27th, 28th, something like that. And we are in zone 8, either A or B, not sure which one. Last frost date is the first week of April. So that's all the details you need to know about the progress in our garden. And today we're going to be transplanting, uppotting tomatoes. We're not going to do all of them because, as you can see, these are all tomatoes and peppers. So we have an incredible number of them. But some of these ones at the top were transplanted first from the original little pots. And these ones I gave some fish fertilizer before I gave to the rest of them. So these ones are all kind of going totally crazy. They're huge. I have them under this kind of a LED. It's a multicolored light that is just fantastic. I'll link this light down below if you guys are interested in it. It's amazing. It's super cheap. The lights themselves work very well. You just have to be kind of careful with them because the housing and things like that can be a little bit breakable. They're made out of metal, so I mean they're not going to like crumble, but you just have to be kind of careful with them. And so it's a good option if you don't have a ton of money. And then as you can see down here, as we go moving further down, they are a little bit smaller. And then right here we have all of our peppers. They're just not quite ready to transplant. I'm going to give these guys a little bit more time to create more of a solid kind of a root base. And then we have all of these. This one here. And then this one, nothing is actually planted here. This was for something else. So I'm just going to I'm going to get through as many of these as humanly possible. Or rather, I'm going to get through as many of these as I have the pots to uppot these in. All right, so we have all of our pepper starts here. You can see these things are way too big. I should have probably transplanted them sooner, but I only have so much light space. So kind of my plan with these is I'm going to transplant the ones that I absolutely have to transplant. And I'm gonna, as you can see in there, I'm out of light space. So what I'm gonna have to do is the ones that I do transplant, I have to bring them out to the greenhouse. It's pretty warm out. It is, right now it's 42, so it's not ideal. But looking at the forecast, we're not even anywhere close to freezing, not even close to freezing at night. And basically after Monday, it's supposed to warm up to mid 50s and even someday in the 60s. So I'm not gonna be super concerned about it. I can always bring out a space heater out there, keep it on low, just to kind of keep it as warm as I need to for these tomatoes. We're going to need to make sure that we're picking the best and the healthiest ones to transplant today. And then whichever ones that we don't transplant, we're gonna put right back under the light to give them a little bit more time. So we do have a couple that are not doing quite as well in these containers, but I'm not gonna worry about it. If I need to, I can always put these into some of the other trays and take the larger ones from some of the other trays and transplant those and just kind of move things around that way. We'll kind of see as we go forward, but for now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the transplanting. Last time that I showed you guys transplanting, I filled up the bottom. I think I was transplanting these. And what I did was I filled up the bottom of these and then just kind of with my finger made a hole and spread things around. But I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work. We're going to try it with the first couple, but I'm not going to fill the pot up at all. Kind of my reasoning for that is that I can squish these as far down. Let me grab one here. Okay, so we have this. The roots aren't terribly root bound. They're not too bad. This is a black from Tula. It's a sauce tomato. And you can see we are well past these ones right down here. These were the seedling tomatoes, I don't remember what they call. But this is the first set of true leaves. So we have a few different sets of true leaves on this guy. So what I'm going to do with these, what we want to do is we want to get the stem buried deeply. Let me see if I can get you to see on here. Get my face out of the way. Okay, I think you can see that pretty well. You can see on the stem, there's a bunch, get my face out of the way, face recognition, it really likes to go for it. So if you can see up the stem, there's a bunch of little hairs growing up the stem, and each of those little hairs has the ability to create a new root. So this is unique only to tomatoes. You don't really want to do this with anything else, but with tomatoes, you want to continue to bury them as deep as possible. So if I take the tomato, put it in the pot, and kind of squish it down in there, right? It's going to bury it deeper, right? Last year, what I did was I kind of took the little plug and I broke it in half and stuck it in there. But then I was like, well, why don't I just take it and squish it in the bottom of the pot? So I'm gonna try it this year. Okay, and then we're gonna take our potting soil mixture. It's not actually like potting soil, it is just the same mixture, it's the seed starting mix. And I'm going to just fertilize it with the fish emulsion. It would be ideal to have some kind of a potting mix that has some kind of fertilizer in there, but this is what I have, and it has served me very well this year. So I'm not gonna push my luck. Okay, so you can see now we have a big portion of this. You can see probably at least, I would say, 2 to 3 inches of the new stock is buried in there, and we're going to do this even one more time probably before we actually plant these in the ground. The only reason I'm not going up to that larger size, because you can see, I probably could go, with the 3-inch pot, but I just want to continue to bury the stem. I don't know like how completely necessary it is, but I just want to make sure I'm getting a large enough root mass with this to give it a lot of strength, and so that's why I'm just continuing to up pot it. I've seen people do it, and I have not seen people do it. I'm gonna try it this way, and then at the end of the season, or at least after a little bit of time, we'll have a good understanding of how well this is gonna work. Okay, so then we have one done. And I am packing these in, but not like super packing them in. I'm just definitely pushing down on them, but I'm not like giving it a ton of force, but definitely packing them in there. We wanna make sure we get a nice, nice root ball mass. Something that the roots can hold on to, and when we're actually ready to take this out and either up pot it or plant it, then we want to make sure that the root ball will come with it and all the soil instead of just melting away. And also so the soil level doesn't sink down like crazy the first time you water it. There's a couple different reasons. It's certainly not a requirement, but I think it is. It is tomorrow. We finished all of those tomatoes up last night. We used up every single last spare 2-inch pot that I could possibly find. So we planted, I think I did probably about 200 tomato starts we did last night. So plan for today is just going to be transplanting a bunch of the kales and kale collard, things like that. We're going to transplant them into these 2, maybe 3 beds. So let's head down to the greenhouse and check out. Oh, wait, hold on. With the transplanting of all of the tomatoes, I was actually able to fit a lot more than I thought underneath the light. And we only have 2 of the 2 trays there that actually need to be brought down to the greenhouse. Currently, the greenhouse is sitting at about 50 degrees. So right now, they should be fine. I know that with the temperatures, with the tomatoes, in order for them to be happy, they need to be like 50 degrees kind of day and night, at least 50 degrees. So I'm not planning on leaving them out there without either a heater or just bring them inside in the evening. I haven't decided which one. So we have been evicted from the greenhouse for a short time because there's a giant, big old fat bumblebee in there. And I don't do that. I'm not going to kill it, but I'm certainly not going to voluntarily go in the same room as it. So due to said bumblebee, I've only been able to actually get 1 flat that I actually want to work without. This is most of the kales and collards and things like that. What I still need to get from out of there is our radishes, peas, beets, And lettuces, the radishes and peas and beets, we multi-sowed a few weeks back. I will go ahead and, well, at least a few weeks back from this, I will go ahead and link that video up there for you guys. And then we also have a bunch of lettuces that are just ready to plop into the ground. So we are on to actually planting in this bed. Gonna get as many, probably gonna be planting them about a foot apart. And we'll kind of just go from there. I'm not going to be super picky and particular about it. I really want to do some high yield planting in this area. And I know that with the, what's it called? The square foot gardening method, I know is 1 kale per square foot. I believe, I don't actually know. I'm pretty positive that most of the cole crops are that. So that's what we're going to go with. And I know that I will not get gigantic, bushy, amazing, humongous plants, and I'm okay with that because I actually like the smaller leafed kales, so I'm not gonna fret about it too much. And I have a lot to plant, so we're just gonna get on it. And it's not all for me and my family; it's also for the chickens and the bunnies and things like that. They really, I'm mostly growing the garden to cut down the feed costs. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm not sure exactly my plan for planting these, but we're just going to go ahead and plant them, and I'll show you at the end what we end up with. I'm gonna get that out of your way. So basically all that I did, pull these out. I need to get my little poker do-bobber. Hold on. So here's the root on it. So all I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna plant it, you know, pretty close here. And all I do is I just put it in the ground and twist it, and that has been leaving enough of an opening to be able to put the stuff in there. And I'm gonna do these probably like every 3 inches. I'm not gonna measure it, but I'm just gonna do roughly every 3 inches. Well, I guess I could measure it. I have this handy dandy trowel here with a measuring stick on it. And with these, not all of them had both of the peas sprout, but most of them did. So I got all the peas planted. I had enough to almost make it through the second bed, and I planted all of them except the end row that hadn't really sprouted at all. A couple of them, some of them had rotted in there, like there was a couple that was just empty, and I, peeled it out, and it was just obvious it was rotten. I think I kept them a little bit too moist. I wasn't super careful about like watering them and then pouring the water off. So note that for next time. It's the same thing in the radishes here, but most of those have actually sprouted. So we got this bed completely maxed out for what I'm comfortable doing, probably a little bit extra. And basically what I did is just in between each of the rows, you can see all the way down every about 6 to 8 inches, I put in a plug of the radishes. And then this last about half of it, like a row and a half, I didn't have enough. I ran out of the radish plugs, so I just planted them in a trough all the way down. I just totally random, didn't even mark them. Now we're ready to move on to the second bed here, and what I've decided to plant here as kind of an experiment is turnips, rutabagas, and turnips and rutabagas. I know that these have a slightly longer day germination time, but not really. Actually, these are about the same. Even less than the radish packages that I was reading said 60 days. I know that that's a really long time, but these are saying 50 and 55. Oop, this one says 65. Rutabagas 65, and then the turnips were 50. So 50 and 55. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna plant these. I'm gonna try and get these things planted almost in a multi-zone way. I'm gonna basically just kind of put a hole here, right? Do you see that okay? Yeah, you can. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take these, and I'm just gonna plop like 3 or 4 in here. Not a trim it. Oh, that's actually a little bit deeper of a hole than I intended. It's not gonna be a really deep hole, and we're just gonna try this as an experiment to see how it works. And I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. Like, it doesn't make sense why it wouldn't work in this hole as opposed to just doing the plug. Like, it would make sense to me that it would work. And in a couple of months, we're gonna find out. So now we have these all watered in. I wanted to show you this thing. I wasn't sure how well it would work or how much I like it, but I picked this up at Lowe's, I don't know, a few days ago. This is my first time actually using it. And basically what it is you put whatever chemical or fertilizer, or interrupted by a phone call. But this thing, I picked this up at Lowe's, and basically you put the fertilizer or the chemical or whatever you want inside of here, and then it has this little dial gauge on here, and you can move this around to whatever per gallon flow rate that you need. So for this one, I wanted to do 1 tablespoon per gallon, so that's what I set it to, and then I just sprayed it. You saw me just sprayed it, and it's perfectly diluted. So that was really easy. I really enjoyed doing that. And it also has 3 different dials that you can do, like a spray, you can do like a flat, and then you can do the stream, and then a spray. So I really like that. I'm probably going to keep using that. And it's great for the fish emulsion. You want to water these in with the fish emulsion because it will help reduce the transplant shock. And so I'm just going to go through, and in between the rows, I'm going to water in all of the seeds that we did. And then I think I do have some extra time, and we're going to plant that 3rd bed there. I don't know if we're going to do any seeds in it, but I'm going to get all those starts in there. As you can see, we are back inside, and I am ready to start 1 plat of these 128 cell plugs. I don't know what you want to call them. I call them plugs. But I picked out what I thought was 16 seed varieties because there's 16 rows, and I want to just plant 1 row of each kind. And I don't know if it's just me. I'm sure it probably is. But anytime that I pick out seeds, it's like by the time I've actually picked them out and added them to my pile, it's like in my mind they're already planted. So if I accidentally grab 3 extra varieties, trying to sit here and figure out which 3 I'm not actually gonna plant, it's tough, man. So give me a second, and I will weed through these and figure out which 3 I'm not actually gonna grow because they're already planted in my mind. Okay. So I have weaned these varieties down, and several of these don't have any pictures. So I'm gonna kind of do it a little bit choppy on this one so that I can look up the picture on my phone so I can actually show you what these look like. Because it's no fun doing these if there's no actual picture with them. Am I right? The first one we're gonna be growing is a holy tulsi basil and cinnamon basil. Look how pretty that is. Blue spice basil. And then a Thai basil. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go through all the ones. I'm gonna get them out of order here. We have a Florence fennel, oak leaf lettuce, which is my husband's favorite kind of lettuce. So as you saw today, we planted a bunch of lettuce, but obviously that's not gonna last for the whole season. So we wanna make sure that when those ones are done producing, that we have another round ready to go. So we have some butter crunch lettuce and a pineapple tomatillo. This one I've already planted. Not a single one of these actually sprouted. So I need to replant these ones. From So True Seeds, we're doing a Jericho lettuce here. And then we're doing a So True seed variety of oak leaf lettuce. So I'm not gonna bother trying to find a picture of that one. And then the rest here is Johnny's. And there is this apricot peach. How beautiful is that one? Copper red. I don't know what it is about straw flowers, but I just love them. They're just the coolest thing. And then this one is called a Helicopterum Perio White, and it looks like a daisy, but it's a straw flower. Come on, focus, please. Please focus. Come on. Okay. So anyways, I'm super stoked about that one. It looks just like the Prince Zulu daisy. I love it. I'm so excited. And then we have these husk cherries. These are just ground cherries with a fancy name. And then we have these dianthus, which is also called a sweet William. I am in love with these things. They're called like a tender, in my zone, they're like a tender perennial, but treated better as an annual. And these ones, I came across them and they were called the Sweet William. And then I found out later on that it's actually called a dianthus. And I came across these when we went to pick up our first batch of bunnies, and they had a bush of these, and the smell of it just, oh my goodness. It really overwhelmed me. Like, I had to find out what it was, and I knew that I had to grow it. So this is the one that I was able to come across. There's a bunch of different varieties, but this is the one I got. It's a volcano mix. And then the last one are these alpha calendula, and they just look completely fantastic. So I have had this tray all ready and prepped to go for about 2 weeks now. So I need to just get everything planted in here. I'm gonna write up the tags for these, and I'm just gonna kind of casually enjoy the rest of my evening because I don't have anything else better to do. My computer's gone, I can't edit anything, it's dark outside, my house is mostly clean. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plant these. I want to watch a video, and I'm just gonna sit back and relax. So if you are interested in the way that I like to plant these, I will go ahead and link a video right there that will show you the information on the seed starting mix, as well as the way that I like to actually plant them and what I cover them with and all that kind of fancy mumbo jumbo. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please do give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and we will see you next time for another fermenting video, and we will see you next time for another video. And I'll see you next time for another video, and thanks for watching. Bye. That's a terrible ending. So, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do remember to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.